The Republican Party has already secured a 3 electoral vote lead in the race to 270, with Donald Trump, the GOP's presumptive nominee, carrying this advantage into the upcoming November election against the incumbent Democratic president, Joe Biden. This lead stems from the redistribution of electoral college votes following the 2020 census. Due to changes in population, 13 states have seen a change in the number of electoral votes they will get to allocate for the presidency in 2024. And within these adjustments, Republican-held states from the 2020 election gained a net total of 3 electoral votes. Before we take a deeper dive into the implications on the 2024 race, if you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel down below and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. My name is Ryan Guest, and I really hope you enjoy this election predictions official video. To start us off, let's go through a brief background on modern presidential election history, specifically as it relates to the Electoral College. The United States has witnessed an extraordinary series of 9 consecutive presidential elections, beginning in 1988, in which neither the Democratic nor the Republican Party has achieved a double-digit victory in the popular vote. This streak represents the longest era of the modern two-party system, which took shape shortly before the Civil War. And narrowing in on just the elections held here in the 21st century, the national popular vote has been decided by less than 5 points in all but one of those 6 elections since 2000, with the exception being Barack Obama's landslide victory in 2008. At least you could call it a landslide by modern standards. Obama is also the only candidate to receive at least 350 electoral votes since 2000. Prior to this period, landslide victories were much more common. Between 1920 and 1996, 17 of the 22 presidential election winners received more than 350 electoral votes, including 14 occasions when the victor won more than 400 votes. Going back even further, this era of competitive elections is made all the more extraordinary when considering that out of the 36 presidential elections held between 1856 and 2000, only 11 of them were decided by a national margin of less than 5 points. Now, the current electoral college landscape that you see today has essentially remained the same since 2000, after seeing some significant adjustments between the 1996 and 2000 elections. To gain a visual understanding of these shifts, let's briefly examine some of the electoral college maps from 1996 to 2020. In 1996, Bill Clinton's second victory resulted in both a popular vote and electoral college margin, 8.5% and 220, respectively, that have not been topped since. Clinton secured 6 states in the South, or along the border: Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Tennessee, and West Virginia, that have not voted for the Democratic Party in any subsequent presidential elections. Conversely, despite his loss, Clinton's Republican opponent, Bob Dole, won Colorado and Virginia, which have now become solid parts of the Democratic coalition. Then, in the 2000 election, George W. Bush achieved sweeping victories across the South, helping him secure the narrowest electoral college victory in U.S. history. Despite Bush's win, though, Democrat Al Gore managed to maintain the party's stronghold in most of the competitive states in the Midwest and Great Lakes region outside of Ohio, also the entire West Coast, and almost all of the Northeast. New Hampshire notably voted for Bush, marking the last time that a Republican would carry a state northeast of New Jersey. Jumping ahead to 2008, Barack Obama secured a victory similar in magnitude to Clinton's win in 1996. He won the popular vote by 7.3 points and the Electoral College by 192 votes. In spite of his and the Democratic Party's strength, though, among black voters, Obama was unable to regain any of the southern-ish states mentioned in 1996 that had voted for Clinton, not even Georgia. In fact, his performance in some of those states was worse than John Kerry's against Bush 4 years earlier. Obama also narrowly fell short in Missouri, which lost its previous status as a bellwether state and has since shifted very strongly to the right. That being said, he did manage to win several states that did not support Clinton in 1996, including Colorado and Virginia, which, like I said, have since solidified as Democratic-leaning states, as well as Indiana and North Carolina, which Democrats have actually failed to carry since 2008. Fast forward to the 2016 election, Donald Trump achieved a notable victory by becoming the first and only Republican in the 21st century to secure victories in the three pivotal Upper Rust Belt states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Additionally, he flipped Iowa and Ohio, beginning their trend from Obama coalition states to leaning firmly in the Republican column over the last few election cycles. Elsewhere, though, a few non-Midwestern states that had previously voted for Bush and then Obama still remained in the Democratic column for Hillary Clinton, namely Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, Virginia, and New Hampshire. Finally, in the 2020 election, Joe Biden managed to defeat Trump by reclaiming the battleground states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin in the Great Lakes region. He also succeeded in flipping traditionally Republican Sunbelt states, Arizona and Georgia, which had not voted for Obama in either of his elections, and had each only supported Bill Clinton once. Now, with that brief historical summary out of the way, and as we take a look ahead to 2024, remember that we have gone through another reapportionment cycle following the 2020 census, and just as they always do after every 10 years, the electoral vote allotments have changed slightly according to population shifts occurring since 2010. These changes will be used for the 2024 and 2028 presidential elections before being adjusted again prior to the 2032 election. The changes you'll see on the 2024 map compared to the 2020 map are as follows. 7 states lost 1 electoral vote, including California, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and New York. Meanwhile, Texas gained 2 electoral votes, while Colorado, Montana, Oregon, North Carolina, and Florida added a single vote apiece. Had these adjusted vote totals been used for the 2020 presidential race, the Electoral College results, as shown on your screen here, would have been 303 for Democrat Joe Biden and 235 for Republican Donald Trump. That is a slightly smaller Biden edge, 3 electoral votes smaller to be exact, than the actual 306 to 232 margin that he won with in that 2020 election. Now, at face value, that difference may seem relatively insignificant. Why would 3 electoral votes really matter on a grand scale when there are 538 electoral votes at stake in any given election? Well, there is actually a plausible scenario in which those changes ultimately determine the outcome of the 2024 election entirely on their own. Let's take a look again at the certified 2020 Electoral College results. If we give Donald Trump the 3 states that Biden won by the narrowest of margins, flipping Arizona, Biden won by 0.3% and a raw vote margin of less than 11,000 votes here in 2020. And then the state of Georgia, which Biden won by 0.2% and less than 12,000 votes, and Wisconsin, where Biden won by 0.6% and about 20,500 votes. The Electoral College outcome in this scenario would have been an exact 269 to 269 tie. Neither candidate would have received the necessary 270 electoral votes to be elected president. In an election with record turnout where 158 million people cast their ballots for president across the country, we came less than 45,000 votes in just these 3 states from a constitutional crisis scenario in which the House of Representatives would have decided the presidency. According to the 12th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, in the event that no candidate wins a majority of the available Electoral College votes, in this case 270, the House chooses among the top 3 finishers in the Electoral College, with each state's delegation getting a single vote. So, for example, all of California's representatives would gather together and vote amongst themselves who the entire state of California would support. And so theoretically, California, as a state, would vote blue, considering its House delegation consists of 40 Democrats and 11 Republicans, while more Republican states like Oklahoma, Alabama, and so on would vote Republican. Just for reference, Republicans currently control 26 of the 50 U.S. House delegations, the bare majority, while Democrats control 22, and 2 state delegations, Minnesota and North Carolina, are currently split evenly between the parties. So hypothetically, if an electoral college tie were to happen today, the Republican presidential candidate would most likely be elected president. The vice presidency, on the other hand, is decided in the Senate, with each senator having 1 vote. And as we know, the Senate is currently controlled by Democrats. So it would most likely be a Donald Trump and Kamala Harris White House. Now, this House tie-breaking procedure, unlike the Electoral College, which is endlessly debated and scrutinized, is not a prominent feature of election analysis and commentary, probably because it has never been used in anyone's lifetime and because the odds of it happening are so low. But as we just talked about, the country came agonizingly close to it occurring in 2020. The main takeaway, though, from this video is that the 2020 reapportionment cycle could have serious implications on the outcome of the 2024 race. This is because if we take this hypothetical scenario where Trump had held on to Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin in 2020, and translate it over to the 2024 Electoral College map with new electoral vote distributions, Republicans would win with 272 electoral votes to Democrats' 266. So with Republicans effectively gaining 3 electoral votes in the census, as population changes contributed to their states netting a positive total of 3 electoral votes, that would be the difference between a 269 to 269 tie and a Republican win. And that is just one scenario. Let's say Joe Biden holds on to the blue wall states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, yet Trump flips Nevada, which current polling averages suggest that he will, and Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. Biden won by 6 points here in 2020, but it was redistricted several points more Republican in the census. We would once again have a 269 to 269 tie scenario, in what would have been, using 2020's electoral vote distribution, a 272 to 266 Biden victory. And then, in a different yet potentially more plausible scenario, let's say that Trump flips Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona, while Biden holds on to Nevada and Nebraska's 2nd district. The former Republican president would take back the White House with 271 electoral votes to 267 for Joe Biden, using 2024's Electoral College distributions. But using 2020's map, this scenario would have again resulted in a 269 to 269 tie. So ultimately, while perhaps still unlikely, these 3 electoral votes that Republicans essentially picked up in the 2020 census could play a decisive role in the outcome of the 2024 election, especially considering how close presidential elections have been in our current political era. That does it though for today's video. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of it, as well as any other videos you would like to see in the future. Shout out to my channel members on screen here. Thank you so much for your support. If you would like to become a member, go ahead and click the join button below this video to receive exclusive perks. Make sure to subscribe to my channel down below as well, and please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Check out electionpredictionsofficial.com for my 2024 elections forecast. You can check out more content from my channel here in the meantime, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. EP out.